Okay, so I haven't been camping in many, many years, but I have one pretty good camping story from when I was really young. When I was really, really young, I went with my dad and my grandpa. I don't remember if we went to New Hampshire or not, or went to like Western Mass. I actually don't really remember that well, but we went on this trip. It was just the three of us. We went to like this little campground. I'd been camping before, but this was one of those like it's on a lake. You know, you're mostly camping, but you're in like a reserved area. You know, you kind of have to like quote unquote claim it. And then there is actually an area like on the other side of the campsite you can go, and it's like actually decent bathrooms. So it's not like a full outdoor camping experience, you know. It's like a little bit not totally like out in the sticks, out in the woods type of deal. Get what I'm saying? So we went. My mom was all panicked because my mom doesn't like the outdoors. I guess that's where I got it from. She was very, very nervous that my dad was irresponsible. To be fair, he kind of was, but he was always pretty good with me, at least. We go, we get our spot. We didn't go swimming that night because it was a long drive there. We set up some food or whatever, and we had this family next to us of best described as bears. This family, they were 10 people deep, and they had, how do I put this? They had all the food in the world for this trip. Like, I'm talking about, like, they brought their industrial smoker type deal. And I remember clearly that there was this one guy who he was very overweight, but he couldn't like get out of his chair. There's a reason that part of the story is important. I'm not telling that just to like rag. It's actually important to the story. I'm like 7 years old, and after about 6 or 7 hours, I was actually playing chess with my grandpa. I remember saying to him, "Hey, Papa, is that a bear?" And he turns and looks and goes, "No, I don't." Oh. Sure as shit. Walking down the camp trail road is a bear. And it's not that big. It's pretty big, but it's not that big. So we tell my dad, and my dad's like, "Oh, where's he going?" "Oh, he's coming this way." We hop in my dad's, what did he have at the time? He had his Explorer. Hop in his Explorer. We drive off. We don't like fully leave, but like we needed some stuff anyways. We needed some ice and we needed some other stuff. So it's like, let's just drive away for a little bit. You know, we had the food in the car. You know, it's like if he smelt the food, if he was trying to do something, then, you know, let's get away for it for a little bit. So we left for about maybe 30, 40 minutes, come back. So we ask people next door if they saw the bear, because they didn't leave. And they were like, "Yeah, we saw it. It did come over here a little bit, but, you know, it didn't get too close. It walked away. It left." So we're like, all right, cool. You know, that's not that bad. About 2 hours later, sitting at the same bench, my grandpa again. And I go, "Hey, Papa, is that a..." "No, that's definitely a bear. I didn't ask that time." And he turned and looked, and he went, "Oh, f***. This one was much bigger." When I say much bigger, and I mean much bigger. Like, the first one, you know, was like a smaller female bear. This was like a very large male bear. And so my dad sees it and goes, "Oh, f***," because this thing was close.
Happy 34 months
I'm
of
talking,
anniversary.
the first time we saw the first bear, we saw it walking down the road. This bear was in the campsite next to us, not the people. The other one, it was empty. He puts me in the car immediately, gets his father, my grandfather, in the car, and the bear had come walking over. And my dad, being quite possibly one of the stupidest people, both one of the smartest and stupidest people I've ever met in my whole life. Let me paint you this picture. Here is car, facing outwards. I am in back, Grandpa in front. Bear walk up behind car. Now, you as a person, right, are like, okay, there's a bear walking at me. I have two options. I can walk around the front of the car, or I can walk around the back of the car, where the bear is. My dad chose to walk around the back of the car. not thinking. And he literally was like 15 feet away from this thing. My dad doesn't make a sound. He just walks around and he gets in, he shuts the door, starts the car, and he goes, "Why the f did I go around the back?" Starts, and we drive away. And after he calms down after like 2 minutes, because he was not doing too hot, he tells me, "Wait a minute. First off, the bear had a marshmallow on its nose. It had a half-cooked marshmallow on its nose. But number two," he was like, "oh shit, we probably should have warned the people next to us." They weren't like rude, they just were very like, kind of like stay away from us. At least that was like the vibe we got the first time we talked to them. When we were asking about the bear, like it was like almost like we were inconveniencing them. We had already driven halfway down the road. My dad was like, "Okay, we have two options. We can go back and try to like warn them, or we probably like drive over to what is considered like park ranger hut or whatever." And so we drove over there real fast and we told them, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we'll head over." I had called my mom, and knowing my mom, that was probably the worst idea ever. She starts freaking out, screaming, full on banshee screaming at my dad to go the f home. And he's like, "It's fine, it's not that big a deal." And she's like, "No, like go to a hotel or something." And now the little kid me, I was like, no, I want to stay, you know? And I'm like, "No, you can't tell me what to do," right? We drove back to our campsite. My dad was still deciding on whether or not we should go home or not. There was these big ass claw marks about 8 feet up on the tree behind our campsite. There was this one very, very, very big tree, and there was these giant claw marks that were not there before. So we're like, "Oh, he was here. He was fucking shit up." There's claw marks on this tree that's behind us. It's like 8 feet up in the air, like up on the tree. And the bear had went up, came back, and was scratching on the tree. So this is where it gets interesting. Remember I told you about the people that were behind us? Well, I felt bad for the guy, but there was this one guy who they had brought a chair for him, and almost like it like wasn't like a regular chair. It was like, you know what you think of like a grandpa lounger recliner that you'd have in your living room? He kind of had one of those, but they had brought it to the campsite. It was like a big lounging chair type of deal, but it was kind of old, and they had brought that as like their place to sit. Why would they bring a lounge chair? This guy was very big. Like, I don't think he could walk on his own. I never saw him stand up. That's what actually ended up happening. So, remember I told you how they had all that food? So what they had done, they had actually brought all their own meat, and they had brought a smoker, and they brought like a giant cooler full of stuff, and they had left it open, you know, when they were like cooking shit. They didn't actually have everything like completely like tight and sealed off like you're supposed to when you go camping like that. So the bear had smelt the food, and the cooler was next to the big dude. His family straight up left him. His family pieced because this giant 8-foot bear is walking into their campsite. And so what happened was the bear came into the campsite looking for the food, and they'd shut the cooler, and the bear walks into their campsite, walks around the dude, does a circle around him, went up, clawed on the tree, and then came down and walked away. But his family left him. They left him there. And so he just had to sit there and ride it out. And the bear didn't bother him. He was looking for the food. But I felt so bad. Because, like, dude, imagine in that moment, you know, like, actual danger, and your family just pieced out, you know? Like, that's so scary. That's actually terrifying. They ended up telling us that it came in, walked around, scratched the tree, and then left. Like, that was kind of the end of it, but I felt really bad for the guy. And I can only imagine what that ended up being like. But they learned their lesson. They realized after, hey, we probably shouldn't leave this shit open. And, I think we ended up staying the night, actually. Did we actually end up sleeping there? I think we did. I actually don't remember. No, I don't think I did. I think I remember being in the tent, but I think at that point, I think that was enough for my dad to go, all right, we're going home. I'm done. Because I remember like driving really, really late at night. I can't remember if that was from this time, the earlier trip, or for when we actually went home. But yeah, my mom was pissed at the second one. Like, she was already mad at the first one, but the second one was like, okay, you know, now we might have f***ed up. I don't know. Moral of the story is, I guess, is don't leave your food open when you go camping, and I don't know. Family might not save you if push comes to shove.